what is audio. Can you hear me? So you just want to figure it out. Can you hear me? Can if you can hear me, just say I in the comments. Who are you for coming up here? Today I'm going to be teaching Flexbox Grid. I'm sorry, not Flexbox Grid, CSS Grid, which is kind of like a step forward from normal Flexbox. So now Flexbox is a layout. It's a CSS layout properties, but it's doing layout with CSS. And the beauty of Flexbox is it helps you do layout easy. But Flexbox is limited. You can only do it on one axis or one lane, which makes it kind of stressful when you want to do, multi-layout, which means you want to do something like going horizontal and vertical, and you want to do, put some information like the YouTube, as like different videos stacked on top of each other. You can't really visualize vertical and horizontal at the time. It's just okay, you're not doing vertical, you're not doing horizontal. I only help you lay out in this manner and in this way. And that's kind of annoying about Flexbox. But that's where Grid comes to this. Grid comes to the rescue. The beautiful thing about Grid is that Grid helps you gives you as much flexibility as you want to position your items in any place you want. You have much creativity because it's just two axes, which is horizontal and vertical, and you can position it as much as you like. Which is why Grid is very is a very needed skill to when you're working as a web developer. Because you need to know, okay, how can I do very creative positioning on my website, and while still saving time on doing that. So today I'm going to be teaching you what I like to call grid. So grid, you can go to Google, for instance. You can see right here. You can see that Google has different sections. So for instance, you can see this, you can see this, you can see this. They're all in different sections. And this was done by a layout method because CSS has a method of you doing your layout on your web page. Without CSS, you won't be able to do any layout on your web page. Just be the one that comes by default. But now you can see, because of the layout opportunities like Flexbox and CSS Grid, you can now have enough flexibility on how you can position your layouts on a web page. You can see. And there are websites that have taken this to a whole other level of being so creative. Now, as I said before, Flexbox is just one axis, so you can only position on the horizontal and the vertical axis. And vertical, of course, is straight down, and from horizontal is from left to right, vertical is from top to down. So just if you want to just position that. But using grid can help you do crazy designs with because it's working on both axes. So it's on horizontal and it's on vertical. You can kind of like visualize it on sort of like a grid. So hope you can see that. So you can see design, for instance. You can see it's very creative. You can do things like this. Whereas in Flexbox, you might only be able to do things like this in a straight line or here. So let's get into coding. I think I've done enough introduction. Let's get coding, and I'll show my screen right now so you can. Yes, let me make this available. Okay. Can you see my screen, please? Hopefully, people out here can see my screen. I'm just acknowledging your mind just to make things easier for people for you to learn. Sorry about that. I didn't know my screen wasn't showing, but that's just what Flexbox and Grids are used for positioning, basically layout on your web page, and there's nothing different from that. So yeah, so let's get right into the business of today. Learn how to do it. So as you can see, this is what grid is. You can see like a grid. You can see there's a top axis, there's a left axis. Grid enables you to position in different places, so you can do both horizontal and you can do both vertical. So Oh, sorry about that. Oh, I didn't know I was muted. Sorry for people that can't hear me. I apologize for for what happened. I hope you can all hear me right now. If you can hear me, please put it down in the comments. Hopefully you can see my screen and you can time. I apologize for the inconvenience at the start of the recording. So let me just continue. Let me get back to my screen, kind of show you what I was doing before. I just hope you can see me right now. Okay, so let me just start from the beginning. So what I did was I created my HTML, just using a shortcut, which is HTML5, and then I created a container. So that's div.container, just to make things easy. As I said, div is like a container where you put your elements on your items. So div is just for positioning your elements, for positioning your items. It's like a container, and it makes doing your grid or flexbox layout. Flexbox is another way of doing layout, but so you're going to be addressing grid. It makes doing your grid layout much easier and much just much better. I would say like that. So first and foremost, we're going to create a div container to house all our items we're going to be using in the CSS grid. So I'm going to start by doing div dot container. Right. I hope you guys can see. Please, if you can see me, if you're following along, just say hi in the comments. Say where you're watching from. Just interrupt. So I created the div. Now I want to create the items of the div. So it's item one, item two, and item three. So that's gonna be just the sub item. So the div dot item one, then div, because I'm gonna have three items. Div dot item two, and then div dot item three. So div dot item three. Now, if I put this in the browser, you're of course going to see nothing because there is no styling. Let me even show you for that fact. You're not going to see any real thing going on. Yeah, like you're just going to see, grid in this HTML. Nothing peculiar about the page. Nothing really special about the page. But now let's give it some styling. So we're going to create two different styles, which is background styles, which is for the background, just to design this, and the grid styles. So if I want to do backgrounds, I want to take it from the beginning. Normally, some YouTubers will just take you through the grid side, but I just want to make sure you don't get lost. Because as a beginner, I also didn't. I also got lost when I saw, but why is the styles happening at the beginning? But now that I have more knowledge, I am just going to make it easier for you to understand. So background styles, the CSS. Then we'll have our normal styles.css. We're going to put all the gridlicious code. So of course, if you don't know how to link your code, you use a link and then a CSS. So link rel equals style sheets and href equals style.css. href is the link to your page, and style sheets is just you don't have to put this rel, but just makes it more compatible with all the browsers. We'll do styles.css, so it's not styles to connect to here, and I'm gonna copy it and do for background styles to make sure that everything is just fully complete, and we have a fully complete, you know, project, and I'll make it beautiful. So yep, I'm gonna change this to background styles, and yeah, that's the first thing we're gonna just do. Let me just save my file. Now for the background styles, I'm just gonna give it some little bit of, you know, a little bit of just a little bit of change. I'm not going to be starting the container, but I'm going to be starting the item. So I'm just going to give it should be background color blue, just normal blue. Then border, I put one, 2 pixels, 3 pixels, solid blue. So border solid blue, and just give it. I won't give it a height because the grid will help us do the height by themselves. So okay, not solid blue, solid dark blue. I think that works better. Dark blue. Yes. So if I copy this into here, boom, boom, and I'm going to just replicate the same styles. I don't have to do this. I could just put an item. But just so I can be able to change the styles of them respectively, I'm just gonna copy it. So now we have styled item 1, item 2, and item 3. You might likely not still see anything after I do that, but you can see this. I've not put any width for any of these things. You can see it's just a straight line, and this is not how we're going to start it. Now I'm going to come over here and now start this doing the container. So I'm going to give the now start. This is where we start working on the grid. So container, this is our container. So this is our container. This is reference to the parent that's containing all these items, which are like the items of our grid. And I'm going to first give it a display grid. Of course, on the parent, whatever is housing it needs to have a display grid. Now, this is where I'm going to try to visualize the grid. So you might not be able to see it on my screen, but I'll just try to help you, go to the visualization so you can really see how the grid is working on the scenes. So first I'm going to, before you can use grid, you have to do something called display grid. Same for Flexbox, same for inline. You just do display grid. And we're going to start with doing grid template columns. So grid template columns. So this is just columns. If you do not know what columns are basically on the horizontal axis. So on the horizontal axis. So let me just prove this. I'll do 100 pixels, 100 pixels, and 100 pixels. Let's just kind of see what is going on here, right here. You see that they are positioned. You might not really visualize it. Let me give the container a border of about or a border of black so you can see where the container is positioned. Now there are no spaces between these items, so you wouldn't might not really see it. Okay, yeah. So let me just make sure that sorry about that. I am coming back here. So let me give this back for background styles. You might see that they're all in a straight line. Let me now do grid template rows. This will now give it substance. This will make it, on the horizontal axis. Let me just type my code. I'll kind of explain it while after I've typed it. So grid template rows. And I'll tell you what the purpose of this is, so that you can better you know, understand what I'm doing. But let me just first visualize the code. And yes, we have our container in the full retrospective. Now you can see it right now that it is looking more substance. So what does that do? So grid template columns is a way of trying to position each item. So now if you don't know this, but this 100 pixels and 100 pixels and 100 pixels is going to each of the items here. So the first item will become 100 pixels. The second item will become 100 pixels. The second item will become 100 pixels. So this is kind of specifying the height. No, sorry, the width. So left to right. As I said, column is on the horizontal axis. So say that what the first item should be 100 pixels in width. Second pixel should also be 100 pixels in width. And the third one should also be 100 pixels in width. Now if I made it like 200 pixels, you see that the first one will increase and the others will be smaller. Okay, did I save that? Yeah, I didn't save that. Sorry. You will see. Oh, this first one is big. This other ones are 100 pixels, 100 pixels. You can see the beauty of this. And on the rows, I might be like, I want the second one to be taller. So I'll do 200 pixels for the bottom. And see how beautiful that works. And I reload it. Oh, sorry. I think I made a mistake. B template rows, 100, 200 pixels, and 100 pixels. Let me just remove that for now. Let me try to change the width of each and every one of them. So I think there was the reason why it didn't work. I do not know for now, but yeah. So this is it controls it, and this should also be able to control the height of this respectively. So let me make each of them 200 pixels, 200 pixels, 200 pixels. That should make it work. If there's no problem in my code, they should all increase in size. You can see that. But if I made 100 pixels, that should also reduce. Okay, it seems that let me see. It seems that it's not working for the grid template rows as of that right now. Okay. Probably there is kind of like an issue, But I'll just get back to grid template rules. But let me just kind of explain what how grid template columns work. So basically, they make sure that the heights are different. And for this, let me just set a specific width for this container so that it's not continuing to expand. Maybe that's the specific height, sorry. It's not continuing to expand. So height of probably 500 pixels. Yes, and height of 500 pixels. And just to make sure, oh, sorry, container it's making heavy, it's making everything that same height. Let me just make the height auto. Let me not change it any bit because it seems that the okay, it's squishing it. If I remove the height, it's particularly, working that way. Sorry about that. Okay, let me remove. Oh, I think there's something removed from my code. I didn't do grid template rules. Let me bring back to the grid template rules. 100 pixels. Sorry about that. 100 pixels, 100 pixels, and 100 pixels, 100 pixels, 100 pixels. So let's make all of them the same size. I think grid template rules has an limitation in that aspect of being able to make things different sizes through the rules. But in the next class, I think I'll be able to give you another answer on that. So that container, let's just make the container a specific height of 500 pixels, while I set the height of the items inside. So I think it's a way that great. But if you guys know what is going on, you can please put that in the comments for all fellow programmers to probably see what is going on wrong right now. Okay, let's continue. So you can see the height is 500 pixels, and for some reason, when I put the grid template rows, and I put like a different um you know height because rows is it seemed not to work. Um, which is if I let me try to inspect the page what's going on with the code. It just seems that it doesn't seem to you know show. This kind of like helps you visualize the grid. So the row. Oh, okay. I need to know that. Okay, okay. Sorry for the confusion, people. Sorry for that. It works on one axis, so it's kind of like you know, you know, this is another row. If I had another row under this row, it will actually put because there's no more. It's not gonna make the other row bigger. Let me try to give a retrospective. Let's say I did, for instance, I did um for another three, and I just did 100 pixels, 100 pixels. Sorry about that. 100 pixels, 100 pixels, 100 pixels. For the three, you would see that it will now turn back into that three on that row, six on a row, and three on that, and 200 length on that row. And if I try to bring it down, you would check it to see that there are more rows below. This is for each row, which is if I show you the container, you're seeing that okay, there's a row here, there's a row here. Let's say I remove the 200 to two, the one I remove all the other 200 pixels. I just leave this right here. But then he's just gonna see one, row on the page. So let me just check that. You can see it's just one row. You can see, but as soon as I bring down like that, it's when you do it's already specifying another, another row. Well, if I remove this, it's gonna bring it down to the lower row. So let's look at it like that. It brings it down to the lower row. So let me tell you the misconception I made. Sorry for that mistake. Guys, what is going on is that for grid template rows, grid template columns, the amount of things on a column. So the amount of things on a straight line, which is the one that you can tell, okay, make sure that the three elements on the three elements are straight and are of 100 pixels width, 100 pixels, 100 pixels width. But what the grid template rows does is that it gives you more rows and tells you the size of those rows. So I can make this row 100 pixels, for instance. Sorry. I make the first row 100 pixels, and I can make this row 100 pixels. So So this first row is I made the first row 100 pixels. The first row changed. Now this is the second row. You can see this one changes. So that's what you have to understand. Sorry, just for the misconception. So grid template rows works in a different way. For grid template rows, they are specifying the height for the first row and the height for the second row. So this is the first row. This is everything like this is the first row. Like this from here to here is the first row. Everything from here to here is the second row. Everything from here to here is the first column, and everything from here to here is everything from here to here is the first column. Is the first column. So everything from here to here are three columns. Sorry, because it's one, two, three. So they are all in one block. This is one column, two column, three column. But as it goes down, you get more rows. So just to sorry for that mistake. So I hope you guys better understand that. Let me start from the beginning. Display grid makes it put just enables you to do your grid. Grid template columns gives the height. If I remove grid template rows, you can see that they will have no visible height. Let me show you that. Sorry. Their height will be the height of the container. You just occupy the height of the container. But if I put grid template, I'm like, okay, let the first row be all have the height of 100 pixels. So I'll just say, okay, I'll come right here with template rows and let the first row all have the same specified height of 100 pixels. I really want to see that. So I'll now put this on, and you see that okay, the first row now has, which is this block from here to here, now has 100 pixels and it's working for me. Now what we want to like specify something for a particular row, and we want it to be to be specific. Now let me kind of like make a bigger grid so that it has more capability. So I'm going to remove the height. So I'm going to create a 10 by 10 grid. So I said this represents all blocks on the column. This represents how many rows you have. So if I put two, we have 2 rows. If I keep putting it 3 rows, if I keep putting this 4 rows, if I keep putting this, we have 5 rows. Sorry. On each of the rows are of 100 pixel size. But this is like everything on a particular row will be of 100 pixels with each. So let me make a 10 by 10 grid. So 100 pixels. And make this better. 100 pixels, 100 pixels, 100 pixels, 100 pixels, 100 pixels. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. For those of you who are coming later, let me just kind of like explain what I did from the beginning. I set the grid. I set display grid so to make sure that it works. And I did group to table column to say that okay, let there be 10 columns or 10 column spaces. Because if you don't have enough items to fill the columns, then that's a problem. Because that's one thing you need to know about. Let me just remove these 3 columns. If you don't have enough items to fill the columns, that's one thing. It would not fill it with anything. So if you want to have 10 columns, you must put 10 items, or you can increase these items to fill several columns. So instead of one filling 100 pixels, you can just set it, which you're going to get into the next stage I'm going to talk about now, into different columns. Sorry, let me not make this too long. So let me just do 100 pixels. 100 pixels, 100 pixels, 100 pixels. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, of course, might not see much. You might not see the ones that are available because there are only 3 items right now in the div. And so if I come back here and I check this out, you'll see there are only 3 items. But visually, and that's by going to inspect, that's the only way you see it. So just remember, use your inspect people, you'll be able to know what to do. You can see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now let me remove the margins around the pages just to make sure that we can get a better visualization of what's going on right here. So for the body, I'll just put a margin of 0 and a padding of 0. Just remove, because HTML comes with margin and padding by default. So yes, and of course we'll be able to now see our. If I reload this, and I come here, we can now virtually visualize our 10, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, what I wanted this to span, just item 1, to span 2 rows. If I come up here, I will find, okay, this is item 1. This is the class for item 1. What I'll do item 1, then grid row start. Sometimes start at number 1 column and go to number 2. So let me start this. Grid row start, number 1, oh, sorry, 1, and grid row end at number 2. So it's, you have to specify the start and the end. And it starts from number 1. So let's do this for instance, and you'll see. Sorry. Grid row start and grid row end. Let me just make sure. Let me just make this different so I can really see it. Let me change the background color to red so I can really see it. Okay. Oh, yeah, it's not. Oh, I'm using the right class. Let me just check. Let me just put background color red. Important. So it will override so I can make this one just uh this is C. Okay, we now have this class. So now grid row start of this and grid row end of that. The different way of doing this, you can also do grid. Let me just try doing something like this. If I do this and do 5 and see what happens. Oh, now it's moving down. Okay, let me do grid row 1 and grid row of 3. It moves there. So it's okay. It starts from 1, then ends at 3. So I think this is column 3 for a reason. I think it's maybe it's getting out of the frame. So this should be okay. Let me just do grid row 1 and end at 1. What would that be? Maybe grid row 1 does not exist. We get grid row 1 and end at 2. Let me do grid row 1, grid row 2, and end at 2. Let me see if there's anything like that. What? Okay. Okay. I was scrolled down. I think I was scrolled down. Oh, okay. Let me start from 1 and end at 2 and see how that works. Okay. It for some reason stays there, but normally it just does do from 1 to 3. I think that's supposed to span just 2 columns. That's just the way grid works. So if I do this, so it goes from 1 to 3. Okay, it starts from column 1, it's at the top, and ends at the beginning of column 3. This right here, if you can't see this one right here is column 3. That's the visualization of grid. So that's why it's good to be to look at this so you can understand. So this is column. This column, you count the lines 1, 2, and 3. If I do grid 1, let's say I want to also change the columns. So you do start, so grid start, grid column start. Not do column, just do grid column start. Then we'll do grid column start, and then we'll put. Let's start from column 1, as I said, which is from here, 1, 2, 3. So it should end around here. So you count the lines 1, 2, 3. You should end around here and push these ones further into the grid. So let me do that. So if we do this right here, and let me make this better. Grid column starts at 1. I say I want to go to 3 as that. So I will just come here and do another grid column. I hope you are understanding. If you have any issues where I'm showing right now, please leave an issue in the comments. If you have any questions, I would reach out to your questions. I'll start checking questions right now. See whether anybody has asked any question. You can just ask the question in the comments. Sorry. Okay, so grid column start 1 and grid column end 3. So you're saying start at column 1, start at column 3. Let's item 1, not the other ones. Item 1, start column 1 and end at column 3. So let me just make sure that it help you guys. So let me go to the document, and boom, it's spanning 1, 2, the middle, and 3. So it starts with column 1 and ends at column 3. So likely 1 to 3 will be 3 minus 1, which is spanning 2 columns. So 1 to 3 with 3 minus 1. So spanning two columns. 1 to 4 before minus 1 spanning three visible boxes. So if you have and he can't go to 0. So 1 to 10, you see it's go to 9 boxes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. As the size of the boxes are 200 pixels and 300 pixels. Now let's say I want this one to be I want the item 2 to be taller. So I want it to span 3. 3, so this is item 2. I'll do item 2. And I'll do the same thing. Grid row start. Because I want to make it taller. So as in height, the grid row start 1. Grid row and I'll make it 4. So you receive three visible boxes. So if I go there, and oh my god, we have this positioned at a very, 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 very amazing height. Yeah. You can see how it is positioning. Let's say I want to make this uh shorter because the code looks kind of long though. I know. I mean, look at it. It's kind of long. So let's make this. Let's look for a better way to make this shorter. So so instead of doing all of this, I'm gonna comment out this code just for you to see. I'm going to do grid. Instead of grid row starting grid row, I'm going to do grid row. At my starting point, which is 1, I'll put 1. And my ending point, which is 3, I'll put slash 3. Now for the column, I'll do grid column. My starting point, which is what? 1, I'll put 1. Starting point and my ending point, which is 3, I'll put slash 3. And of course, okay, let me make this longer so you can really see the changes. And of course, if I just reload it, you can see it changed. 1 to 4, that's 1. You can see visible 1, 2, 3, 4. So for people that don't understand again, it's you can see these lines is every line. So from 1, 2, 3, 4, it ends at this line. So if you want to have a better understanding, just do the number, your end number versus your start number, which is 1. And if you subtract them, you see that it will align in a very different way. So 1, 2, 3. You just see 3 boxes, but it's just starting from 1 and ending at the third line, just for you guys to remember. So yeah, let me make this one even shorter. So I'll just do grid row, you know, grid row, 4. Grid row I'll start at 1 and end at 4. Okay, this one is okay. Not grid row, grid column. Sorry, it's on a straight line. Vertical line is grid. Sorry, grid row. Sorry, grid row is vertical line. Grid column is horizontal, and grid row is vertical. Just it will take some time for you to. Even me, I still sometimes mix match them. And yeah, you should see that it's just the same, and you can now make it. There's also a simpler and also a shorter way of doing this, but I prefer using this method. But if you want a shorter way of doing this, you can do something called grid area. So you do grid area, which is a good way of just kind of like, getting a good glimpse of it. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna do grid. You're gonna do area. Then what you're gonna actually have to do is like, yeah, you're gonna do this formula. So let me just write it down. So you do row start. Sorry, row start. Just to help you visualize it. Column start. Maybe I shouldn't remove that code. Maybe I shouldn't remove that code that I on this list. Let me just give it so you can really see. Um, Grid area. So we have row start. Column start, row end, column end. Just give you a listen. So what's our row start? 1. So we're starting at row 1 and going down to row 3. So row 1, and our end of our row is row 3. So don't mix this up. Then for column, we're not going to be using commas, we're going to be using slashes. That's how you prove the grid. Then for our column start, we have 1 and we have 3. So I prefer using the previous method because that helps you really visualize it. But if you want to get something done fast, so you just do it like this. So slash slash slash, and it should give you the exact same thing you saw there. So row one, row three. Because if you want to make the row go lower, this row start at row end. So let me make it go, more in the height. You would see that okay, it is visualizing more at this moment. Okay, just for you to visualize that a lot. So row start, row end, column start, column end. We're gonna make this one four, one out four two. Okay, so this is the row end, row start, row end. We're making it taller. That's why this is it's much harder to visualize. So I wouldn't recommend using this, but just for you to know it makes it taller. So row start is here, row start is here, row end is here, column start is here, column end is here. I can also do the same thing for that. But since I'm not doing two different axes, this will just work for me. I don't need to use grid template areas. So I hope you're learning a lot, and I think that's where we want to stop from today, just to make sure you just get a little bit of an understanding about this, how these items work, how to do them easily. So, and this is what I'm going to be stopping from today. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about grid auto. I'm also going to be talking about different functions like repeat, uh, that make grid just for more advanced grid concepts later on, in the next lecture. But thank you for joining this live. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry for the beginning issues at the beginning, but I hope you enjoyed this live stream. Hope you have learned something about grid. Let's just kind of like do a recap. So we have a container. Um, we have display grid. Display grid make sure that the grid is even usable. Grid template columns kind of like visualizes the the grid. So columns is let there be let the columns be 100 pixels, 100 pixels, 100 pixels width. If you made this 200 pixels, that will make the length of the next column, which is in the horizontal. So let me show you this. This is a column. So anything that's going from here to here to here. So this one, two, three. If I made this larger, it would have been 200 pixels. So it's just trying to specify the width. So from here to here to here, from here to here, from here to here. If I put, and you might not see much because there are only three items, but you see the container, you can say that, oh, there's likely 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 whole grids for me to partake from. So that is just what this visualizes. So 10 whole grids of 100 pixels width, and put 10 columns of 100 pixels width. Now this doesn't mean items, because your one item can span different columns, but it just has, you can see these items are spanning. This is just one item, but it's spanning three columns and three columns down. So it's just a way of kind of like visualizing your grid. So I feel like when you start first visualize your container before you start working on the nitty-gritties of each item. I also talked about grid row start and grid row end. For if you want it something to span different columns, you can do grid row start. One start at here, grid row end at here. So just to make things, you want to make one item span different columns. This is where you go. And I showed you different ways of doing it. You can do grid row start, grid row end. You can use a shorter method, which is you put the row start at this point and the row end at this point. So it starts at one, as row is of course vertical, so that's one, and then ends at four. So that just helps you make it easier, and that's how you kind of like visualize the things that you do for your grid. And grid is very very powerful. Tomorrow I'm going to go in deeper into more you can do with grid, but this should be able to give you an idea to be able to start some stuff with grid. You can research more on your own, or you can come up for my next live that I'll likely be having tomorrow on grid part 2. So thank you, lovely people, for coming on this live stream. Thank you for staying with me, and I just hope you have a wonderful night. God bless you. Make sure that you guys enjoy, your day. I'll be ending the stream right now. Thank you all for coming. And bye bye.